Hello and welcome to episode 95 of Tom's Hirschsprung's podcast. I am delighted to welcome back Ollie for his second part. Welcome back, Ollie.
Yo, Tom, how are you doing? It is so good to be back.
It's really good to see you again. Really good. We had a cracking part one. We talked about some great stories.
Oh yeah.
It made a lot of people laugh. We got a lot of good comments out of those.
I'm good.
Um,
I'm pleased.
we did
Um,
make a lot of people laugh.
Nothing
Um,
like talking about my traumatic life experiences for other people's amusement.
People love a bit of trauma. They
Yeah,
love
come on.
it. They love.
It's all good when it's happening to someone else, right?
Yeah, yeah. People love it at other people's expense, not necessarily their own.
Yeah, of course, of course,
But
of
we've got
course.
some really interesting topics to delve into this afternoon. This morning, sorry, completely mistimed the day.
Hey, when is this going out? October. Time is relative. It's all good.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, some really interesting little bits to talk about. Just some sort of tips and tricks that you found as you've gone
Yeah, mate.
along as a PT. We'll talk a little bit about a project that you are working on, and I'll save the details for that for you to
Exciting times.
yeah, a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a teaser for later on. But yes, we've got some really interesting topics to cover. So I guess we'll start from the top, really, and just little sort of tips and tricks. You said you've been away doing
Yes.
some acrobatics,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and just come up with sort of some little and things that you found sort of as you've been doing that
Mhm.
in terms of diets and little bits and pieces. What have you discovered?
Cool. I guess so. This comes with a bit of a preamble, I guess. But cool. So I went on honeymoon this summer, 2 years after being married. And me and my
Congratulations.
wife. Mate, it was just it's more like well done for finally going. But yeah, it was great. What we did, and I recommend that everybody does this, is we drove our very old, very kind of clunky and whistly Toyota Hiace van down through Europe to Croatia, did acrobatics camp for 2 weeks, and then drove back. We drove down through France and Italy, and then we drove back through Germany and Luxembourg and Belgium. And May, top trip. If you can in your life, drive over the Alps. It's unbelievable. There's a pub at the top. I didn't know that. There's a pub at the top of the Alps, not through the Mont Blanc Tunnel, but the other way. You go up there. It's yeah, top trip, guys. 10 out of 10, recommend it. But anyway, me and my wife, she's very small and I'm very massive, and so we're like, this is a great recipe for an acrobatics duo. Let's go off to acrobatics camp. And my friends, circus people are built different. They are unbelievably strong, unbelievably brave, just very kind of laid back and chilled out, despite being very intense about what they do. And we just had 2 weeks of this amazing atmosphere with all these people who like just sort of jumped off each other at various degrees of like professionalism. Um, Unbelievably strong. For me, like talking as PT, it was incredible to see. It's a different application of strength. I mean, for the last year, I've been working around like powerlifters and bodybuilders and people that do triathlons and stuff like that, and that's like one application of strength. But acrobatic strength is kind of a different ball game because it's all about efficiency of movement. It's all about locking into positions. It's all about holding positions for a long time, um, dynamism, coordination, all of that stuff. So Tom, if you were jumping off of my shoulders, it's not just you jumping off my shoulders. It's me giving you the kind of impetus to jump as well, meaning you can get more height, but I'm not squatting too deep. Otherwise, you'll just be pushing me down to the. It was all like really technical stuff and a lot harder than they make it look.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, but it was amazing. It was totally. Um, Sorry, I've just got an email and that's distracted me. I beg your pardon. Yeah, it was very cool. But I mean, coming back to the Hirschsprung side of things, um, really interesting. I'd been on quite a strict diet going into that kind of bodybuilding, not bodybuilding, photo shoot prep that I'd done, um, and then coming out of that, the campus was that we were on was basically everyone ate a vegan diet. We had these amazing chefs that cooked this amazing vegan food. And now, vegans in the room, I'm not having a go at all. All I am saying is that the changes to my body just based off what I was eating, were really, really interesting.
Interesting how.
Well, turns out, and I don't know if that, I mean, write in the comments, send Tom an email, whatever. But turns out, and this is a nuanced point I'm about to make, but beans, legumes, all that kind of stuff has quite a bloating effect. Because I was in, and I, of course, that sounds like an obvious thing to say, but when I've been on like such a strict diet of like eggs, turkey, chicken, rice, uh, no pasta, that was said, potatoes, things like that. Um, Going from that very kind of single ingredient clean diet to adding loads of beans, legumes, all that kind of stuff, oils, that kind of thing. Just how quickly I inflated was quite interesting. And I'd never sort of noticed it before because I've never done a kind of intense dieting phase before. Um, yeah,
Wow.
I don't know. Have you had any experience of that kind of thing, Tom?
Yeah, I mean it's. I think it kind of stands to reason, and I think it is like a. I think it happens to everybody else as well as people with
Mm-hmm.
Hirschsprungs, but I think
Yeah,
because we have Hirschsprungs, it is
it's exacerbated,
amplified.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
and
think, sorry to get graphic, but I noticed like the stool element of the eating process changed as well.
yeah,
There was quite a like there was quite a shift, shall we say? Um, Everybody will know what I'm talking about, hopefully. But yeah,
yeah. It is very much nutrition is again. I think nutrition is probably something I don't cover enough on here, really, but.
well,
Because I'm not qualified in it, so I don't
yeah,
feel like I can give advice or anything like
mm-hmm,
that. But
mm-hmm,
I think it'd be interesting to bring on, nutritionists and whatnot, and
definitely,
because I think we are built differently, aren't we? Because we have Hirschsprungs, because we
mm-hmm.
have in varying degrees less intestines than everybody else, less ganglion
Yeah,
cells than everybody else. Um, we are going to be different, and things like beans, lentils,
mm-hmm.
all sorts are probably going to travel faster
Yes.
than everybody else.
The way I was thinking about it is like we've got one less motorway. So if you imagine like a traffic system, there's like one less, there's a couple less roads, and so some, depending on if you send like a HGV through, that's going to clog up the roads a little bit more. And I think, oh, dude, so interesting. So straight after the photo shoot, right? Got super lean, super primed. I My coach said to me, just have a weekend of eating whatever you like because you're hungry, you've earned it, it's your reward. Dude, I'm telling you now, I had a pizza and I felt awful. Just the shift from going from like clean diet. So, okay, here's what I mean by clean diet. I just want to spell this out for people. We're looking at broadly 80% single ingredient whole foods with some caveats to that. When I say single ingredients whole foods, what I mean are things like your kind of classic proteins, your beef, your chicken, your turkey. We're talking your potatoes, your rice, all that good stuff. Okay, your veg. Okay, so single ingredient does what it says on the tin. This is a broccoli. That's what it is. There are some, generally speaking, in the PT kind of world, there are some great little exceptions to that. Sourdough bread is amazing. Okay, and I know it's not a single ingredient. You got three, four ingredients: flour, salt, yeast, water. But sourdough bread is great for digestion, and that I would put under the kind of clean eating, single ingredient, quote unquote, bracket. Right. Basically, all that stuff is really easy to digest. Okay. Good news, everyone. Dark chocolate also is in this category as well, so that's cool. Chocolate's amazing. It's all the other stuff that goes on with chocolate that turns it into a high processed food. Anyway, but I mean, this is my mum's probably rolling her eyes at this point because she's the thing about personal training. Yeah, is all I'm doing is telling you what to do, what your mum has always told you to do: eat good food, exercise, sleep, don't be on your phone all day. Like it's mum stuff, right? Just a very professional, very professional mum. Anyway, um, eating good food makes a massive difference. And just for anyone with Hirschsprungs, what I would say after going through this very like intensified version of this process of eating clean food and moving on from and then coming back to and then that process that weekend of eating whatever I liked, um, you notice the difference. I felt hungover for a few days afterwards after the piece. Really interesting, like really like I felt sleepy, I felt lethargic, I felt like my face was falling off. Really bizarre. But just have a look at your diet, okay? And this is something you can message me. Fine, I'll take a look at it. But just keep a little diary. What are you eating on the day to day? We often think about convenience foods. We often think about all that kind of stuff being highly processed. Different parts of the world have different levels of processed food to watch out for. But generally speaking, eating these clean single ingredient foods, it's better for your digestion. It's cheaper in the long run, and it's if you prep it all, then it's really accessible throughout the week. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I feel like I've
absolutely.
rambled quite a lot there.
No, 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 no. That kind of single food um, diet does make a lot of sense because
Yeah.
again, as you said with chocolate, dark chocolate, wonderful, but you got the milk chocolate, you got everything else, and that's a lot of that. That's where that processed food comes from, the processed sort of element, isn't it?
Hmm. Totally.
How that
Totally.
comes from. So
And I
yeah,
and look, okay, I'm not one of those guys that's going to turn around and say seed oils are bad for you and everything processed is made by Bill Gates and he's trying to kill you kind of thing. That's
yeah,
not me. What I am saying though is if you just generally structure your diet like 80-20, so 80% whole clean foods, 20% whatever you like, that's a really good rule of thumb. It's a really, really good rule of thumb to like just kind of keep everything moving. Um, and Yeah, it's all good stuff. And of course, like homemade stuff is always better as well. So like a homemade cupcake is going to be better for you than a cupcake out of a shop. I'm going to sneeze at any moment, so please, I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. So just pre-warn everyone.
I'll
Yeah,
jump in.
yeah,
I'll jump in. Yeah, but I like that though. I like the. That's what I really like your approach to personal training because obviously we've both been in, or we're both still in the sports industry,
Mhm.
and but you have sort of very realistic approach. Obviously, you want to help people get better, blah blah blah. But you kind of say, look, it's not. You can't ever eat this, otherwise,
Yeah,
everything's going to go wrong, and you're immediately going to get really really fat and blah blah blah. You go like, you're just realistic about stuff, and I think that's you realize that people have lives, and you realize that people sometimes you might think actually I'll eat this or eat that, but
Mhm.
again I think there is a lot, especially on bits and pieces that I see where they say you can't have this, you can't have that, and then that leads to things like eating disorders
It's
and all of the horrible stuff that you really 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 don't want.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's why I sort of love about it really, that it's that sort of, yes, we'll help you, yes, we'll get you better, fitter, all sorts, but we're also realistic about stuff.
Well, yeah, I don't want to live in a world where I can't ever eat a cheeseburger again. I
Exactly.
don't, McDonald's exists and it's delicious and it's designed to be delicious. So making space for it and keeping it in its place is a really healthy way of going about
Mhm.
it. It's one of those things. It's quite easy to have too much of it, but we also don't want to kill it completely, right? Because yeah, I mean, well, okay. So this is a slight tangent as well. I think from my experience, the best thing about doing, because being a personal trainer, you have to do the journey as well. You can't just sort of tell people to do this and it works and you're sitting on your ass at home not doing anything. But I mean, the the biggest benefit I've had to my life from going to the gym is gaining a sense of control over food, um, and control over my impulses around food. So I know when it's okay to have a Mackey's, and then sometimes like you just don't need it at the moment, mate. And then I go, oh yeah, no, I don't. And actually I'm going to be fuller. I'm going to be more satiated. I'm going to have more energy if I go from a meat and potatoes. Dude, potatoes are the best. Can I just throw that out there? You can eat so many of them for so few calories. Just Ah, yeah, what you do, turn your oven on, high full whack, chop the potatoes down small little chunks, throw some garlic in there. Ah, just let them get crisp up. Ah, the best. Love potato.
So much you
Spot.
can do with a potato.
They're just the most wonderful thing. Bizarre. So this is nuts to me. The potato didn't exist in Europe until the Columbian Exchange. How weird is that? Like we're talking three. Someone do the maths on this, but like 300 years ago, potatoes didn't exist in Europe.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, potatoes are a okay. Now someone's gonna like get me for this, but I'm quite sure the potatoes didn't exist in Europe until Columbus went over to America and brought some back. I think that's real. Um, Bonkers, in it. I know. What did
Yeah.
we do as British people? What did we do for food?
I thought we always had potato. I just assumed
I
we always
know
did.
you because they're so ingrained in the culture. I mean, yeah, nuts. I think that's bizarre. Yeah, I'm not saying I'd stay awake at night thinking about it, but it does trouble me. All the people before the Colombian Exchange not knowing what a chip was.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
now it troubles everyone else because they
I
now
know.
all know.
Sorry, everyone. Unless I've gotten that completely wrong, and we get the mother of all takedowns on the internet later on. Actually, you'll find the potatoes have existed in Europe since Adam and Eve or whatever. But yeah.
Amazing,
Anyway,
amazing.
there we go.
But yeah, so in terms of, I know you talked a little bit about the sort of vegan diet and
Mm,
the acrobatics as well.
hmm.
In terms of when you kind of came back from doing your from your honeymoon,
Yeah,
was it sort of straight back to, did you incorporate any more vegan stuff in, or was it just straight back to what you've been doing
it
before?
was. Yeah, I went back. Largely went back to what I was eating beforehand. Just because I found it really worked for me. It kept me full. Kept me, the nutrition side of things. I felt really comfortable with it. It was when you're traveling. Dude, I don't know when you're traveling. Does your stomach do extra interesting things whenever you're on the road going on holiday? And I know there's like the whole go to Spain and get diarrhea and whatever, and that happens to normal people. But I just think Hirschsprung's law. It just takes a tiny little tap or change of routine for backflips to start happening. Um, is that true for you as well, or have I made that up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's if you're at home or whatever, then you've kind of got the safety of knowing that, you
Uh-huh.
can kind of do what you want and you'll be all right.
Hmm.
But when you're out and about, sometimes you have to plan and plan ahead, and sometimes you can't.
Hmm.
And it's like, I mean, my job previous to this, I was out and about here, there, and everywhere, going to different places and schools and whatnot and teaching, and you can't necessarily plan ahead
No,
because you're teaching and you're in the middle of a class, you've got 30 people and it's only you and you can't just leave.
I know.
And it's, and you're like, I can't really do anything about this. And yeah, so you can't, I guess, and I speak to a lot of people who go, actually, you know, I have to plan ahead, but and just on the like the job front as well. I speak to people who say, "Oh, well, I want to be this, but I have Hirschsprungs, or I want to be that, and I have Hirschsprungs." And like one of the big things with bringing people on here is to kind of show actually you can be a PT,
Oh,
you
dude,
can
yeah,
be acting, you
one
can
hundred
you
percent.
can do you can do. I mean, there's people who I speak to who are in construction who have Hirschsprungs. There's people. I mean, there's even a guy who is a professional boxer and has Hirschsprungs. There's I guess it's one of those things. Yeah, everyone's different, but kind of planning ahead, you
Big
can
time.
still do all of those things that you want to do. And I would hate for someone to ever say to me, I have Hirschsprungs and so I can't do X.
Totally,
Because
totally.
that would really hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is, it's so depending on your level of it, it's quite
Mm.
a manageable thing, and also like activity. All activity is good activity. All movement is good movement. Okay, so I have also noticed in the kind of getting fit or getting stronger, eating well, lifting heavy weights, all that kind of stuff, my day to day, week to week symptoms have reduced. I don't get pain as much as I used to. Like, I, it's often overdone, but muscle mass and increasing your muscle mass is such a great way of dealing with life generally. And I think even more so when you've got a digestive problem, issue, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
definitely.
being in tune with health, fitness, getting the cardio. When you what I noticed there were a lot more. Do you remember lockdown and just kind of sitting around all day? Thinking back, sitting around all day over lockdown, I was all I was all over the place. I think
Awful. Yeah.
it was really. I was working in care at the time, and I was always running to the loo and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now it's like I've never reflected on this before. Yeah, the weeks and months when I'm sitting around doing nothing and not being active makes such a difference. So I guess yeah, piece of advice for everyone: just get out there, go for a walk. It start small. Don't run for 5K. Run for 500 meters. The next day, do a kilometer. The next week, do 1.5 kilometers. Build it up because I think a lot of people. I mean, it's September. I mean, at the time of talking, it's September, and a lot of people go right now after they've been on the summer holidays, they go, now I'm going to get back in the gym. Now I'm going to do all this stuff. Now I'm going to finally do it. And what they do is they try to do 4 gym sessions a week. They try to run 5K a day and they get to day 2 and they think, I can't be bothered. Right. I remember being in that, I call it David Goggins mindset. You know who David Goggins is?
No.
He's a internet guy, and he was a guy that lost. I don't know the numbers on it, but kind of 200 pounds in 6 weeks to get into the Marines or whatever. And he's like, I do 1,000 push-ups every day. I do 5,000 pull-ups. I run for 2 marathons. And he does. I'm not saying he doesn't do it. He totally does. But like, he is a very unique individual, and most people are not like that. I'm not like that. I've got workout to do later on with some cardio. The sun's out. I've got to go for a run. But like I've built that up over time. The reason I can run for as long as I can is because I started doing like 10-minute runs, okay, and then built it up to 50 and then 20, and now I'm doing half an hour and I feel fine, right? But if you'd asked me, gosh, a year ago to run for half an hour, I'd have said yes and given it a go, but it wouldn't have gone well. And so, like lads, build it up from small to large. Get yourself some accountability, get yourself a community, just because human beings are pack animals. We live in tribes. Motivation is kind of a scam. You're not a motivated person because you feel like it. You do things because other people need you to, and other people are supporting you in that. It's a stupid example, and I know this is like kind of manosphere kind of talk, but like you don't go out and hunt the buffalo because you feel motivated to do it. You go out and hunt the buffalo because your community needs to, right? And your community is doing that with you. And that went super Chris Williamson for a minute, but yeah, like that's the thing. Doing things in community, building it up from scratch. That's the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think that's why, things like running clubs, are really
Mm,
good, and and that's why gyms work so successfully because,
yeah,
if you were the only person in the gym, probably chances are you probably wouldn't do a lot.
yeah,
But some people do. Some people go to the gym and they're very, motivated to do stuff, and that's
mm-hmm,
great.
mm-hmm,
But a lot of that's why a lot. Well, this is why a lot of gyms work so well because there
mm-hmm.
are so many people in there, and you don't want to be that person that doesn't do so well and
Yeah, and
all that stuff.
getting someone alongside who knows what they're doing as well.
Yes.
Whatever. Find a friend, talk to me, whatever you need. Like that's the job, right? So yeah, I mean, I have a coach. I've got a personal trainer, and he's an online personal trainer. I don't train with him in person, but having him there, um, that I have to check in with every week. How's it gone? Talk to me. What's going on? That, for lack of a better word, makes me go to the gym. Um, he set me the plan. He knows what the roadmap is. He's in charge of all of it. I just have to. It's a really bad phrase, but in the industry, we say, say if I was training you, I give you the gun, I give you the loaded gun, you just have to fire it, right? Um, so he's given me the loaded gun. I have to, and I know that come my Tuesday check in, he's gonna see, he's gonna know whether I have or haven't, which
Yeah.
means that I go when I really don't feel like going, and then I feel better for it afterwards. Yeah,
definitely. And it's
that's what's
that
up.
what people are motivated by as well is people are some are motivated by achievement, some are motivated by fear of failure.
Mm,
Some people don't want to, they're motivated more by the feeling they might have that they won't succeed. But then some people are motivated by the feeling that they'll have when they achieve whatever it is they're set to achieve. So yeah, I think everybody is motivated differently.
yeah,
I think
big time.
everybody is motivated differently. But yeah, no, it's really interesting that kind of, and I know kind of circle back with Hirschsprungs that the people I've spoken to who, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Hirschsprungs. It can be a lot of
Hmm.
IBD, IBS,
Hmm. Hmm.
gut related issues
Hmm.
have benefited so much from health and exercise. And we're
Mm.
not talking like running marathons here. We're just
No,
talking, just sort of consistent consistent exercise and
yeah,
finding something you like doing as
yeah.
well. I think really helps. I know people that go, I just don't like running. I don't want to do running. I don't like running.
Then
Okay,
don't do running.
there's hundreds of thousands of activities
Yeah,
that you can do
yeah,
that don't. It's what people think. Every September. It's like you said, with September and January, isn't it? Are the two
yeah,
times
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where
Those two big rushes. Yeah,
people buy their new running shoes and they go, I'm going to run 10 miles a day. No, you're not. So if you don't want to run, find something else to do.
that's what I
That's
to do.
absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
Um, and segueing on other things to do,
yes,
you have we teased it at the beginning, but you
yeah,
have a new project sort of
yes.
lined up. What
It's
is that
something.
project?
It is okay. So very clear to everybody. Okay, this is a something that currently exists in embryonic form, and it's kind of a something that me and my cousin are kind of spitballing at each other, chucking ideas off the wall. Right. Okay. So in my career as a personal training so far, I have trained a couple of pre and postnatal women. Okay. Now, here is what concerns me about pre and postnatal women: the lack of education and understanding about how important building up physical bodily strength pre and post pregnancy and birth is. Now, ladies, I'm not saying that this is your fault for not knowing about this. The problem is that you've never been told, okay? And there's never been a kind of system of making birth as easy as it can be, okay? We have to understand. And look, ladies listening to this, I know that you're going, you're a bloke. What do you know? Let me just tell you, like, my understanding of this. My understanding of childbirth is that it is the Mount Everest of human physical achievement. Okay, we see the Olympics, we see people deadlifting half a ton, we see these massive strength. That is like base camp compared to giving birth. It is the most important thing that people do, and it's the I like to think of it as the most intense human experience there is. Okay, and it takes a again, ladies who've given birth. You don't need me to tell you this. It takes a massive toll on your body. Okay, I was talking to someone recently who described, and this. I don't think it's a bit graphic. She sort of said to me, "It's like your body gets ripped in half." Okay, and I thought, whoa, that's intense. I don't know what that's like. But the amount of research out there showing that women building muscle mass, and how many better outcomes there are as a result of kind of having strong bodies going into this whole process and then building up strong bodies after the process, the amount of research is kind of overwhelming. Building muscle mass, ladies, is really good for you. I have an unbelievably perfect anecdotal example of this from my honeymoon. Would you like to hear it, Tom?
Absolutely.
Great. So we're training with this couple. They're an acrobatic couple, and basically she stands on top of his hands, and he like pushes her up in the air and all that stuff. Right now, this lady had given birth 5 weeks prior, and she was standing on top of her husband teaching us all how to do a movement, holding her baby, and breastfeeding. I I tell no lies. This is a lady who has been doing acrobatics for a long, long time. Her body is in incredible physical condition, right? And she is able to bounce back from giving birth to cracking on teaching a class while breastfeeding this new baby, standing high on top of her husband, who is not a small dude, right? Now, ladies, am I saying that you need to like be able to do that? No, but I think it demonstrates how important physical preparation for childbirth is so that your body can bounce back to doing all the things that you wanted to do. This is kind of on my brain. I've had a few family members give birth recently and just kind of seeing the impact that it's had. Um, I just think it's really very important for women to get hench, regardless of whether you want to have kids or not. So this is the kind of spitball idea. And this is where we need kind of active feedback from you, the listeners. I suppose what I want to hear from women who are thinking about giving birth, who are pregnant themselves, who have just given birth, what is it that you wish you knew going into childbirth? What would be a service that you wish you had in terms of your physical preparation, and what problems with the kind of current system are there? Okay, so if you're in Britain, right, we've got an NHS system. There's a certain pathway for women going in with pre and post natal things there, which is great. It's like, what is lacking from that? Because at the moment, what we're looking to do, just myself as a PT, my cousin has a master's degree in public health and menopause, and so we're just kind of thinking about this at the moment. Where could we plug a gap that currently doesn't exist in the market, basically, and what would you be looking for? And what we're looking for is to design a service for the whole arc of pregnancy. So pre-pregnancy, prenatal, postnatal. That's kind of the idea at the moment. But we kind of want to see, is there a market for it out there? Is this something that people want? Is it something that would be considered useful? Just in my background of strength training, my cousin's background in public health, so if we have any specialists listening in kind of pre or postnatal, please get in touch. We would love to hear from you. And also ladies who have had kids, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Ladies that are thinking about having kids, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. This is not a set service as it is. I kind of exist as a online personal trainer, and I train women all the time, and I get them really strong, and that's great. So that kind of part of the thing is there. But yeah, we're looking to kind of branch into this area, which we feel better outcomes for women. You like every other physical endeavor we go for, you prep for. Okay, if you're climbing Mount Everest, you prep for it. If you're going to the Olympics, you prep for it. If you're doing your school sports day, you prep for it, right? But with birth, we kind of think, oh yeah, women could just kind of do that. And yes, women, you can, you're amazing, but wouldn't it be great if it was easier, right? There we go. That's my pitch. So, ladies, if you're listening, please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you and see what we can design, basically.
Excellent. I think that's, again, on the face of it, an amazing idea. And people might think there are two blokes talking about childbirth.
Yeah.
How do they know? But
but
I think it's
yeah.
Go on.
But just from what I've seen, it looks really tough, right? And I haven't experienced that myself. So if it looks tough, it must certainly be more tough than it looks, right?
Yeah. Definitely. But I think that's, as you said, there's a huge gap. I mean, I know we were talking a little bit off air about this, and just from my experience of working in high level women's sport, there's not a lot that's talked about. I mean, I used to coach high level women's cricket, and women who were in their sort of 20s, 30s, thinking about having children, and you go to the board and you say, what plans have you got in place? what are we doing? Are we
Yeah.
doing strength training? Are we what? And we're talking about professional athletes here.
Hmm.
What are we doing here? And their response is kind of not sure. And
Hmm.
that's not good enough. That's really not good enough.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said as well, in terms of this podcast and its analytics, there's 80% of listeners to this show
Hmm.
are women. Majority between ages of 25 to 40.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so I think that feedback is going to be really, really important.
Yeah.
Really,
Big
really
time.
important.
Big time.
And I think, like we said, we're two guys talking about it. We need we need the feedback
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Totally.
we can't, as qualified as you are and as qualified as your cousin is, tailoring that program is going to be so important
Hmm.
with feedback of people who've
Yeah.
been through it or are potentially looking at going through
Yeah.
childbirth.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And I think here's the thing. I mean, again, it's like, why do you, I think it's important to kind of say this. Why should I, a bloke, care? Kind of, if you think about it, the whole of human society is geared around children, okay? And it's geared around raising the next generation. We want the economy to grow so that we can make a better life for our children. We want good health services so we don't know that our children are going to be all right. We want good facilities so our kids can get educated. The whole thing revolves around kids, right? And there's pros and cons of that, but like it seems strange to me. Okay, fine, the whole of society is around kids, but what about the health of their mothers, right? It's very important. Now, of course, lads, if you're listening to this as well, there's lots of good reasons that you should get in good shape as well. But we're talking about a specific demographic here, and I think, yeah, it's an idea that it's kind of been floating around in my brain for a while, and I think all I need is to see if I'm barking up the wrong tree or not. Because it might be. And yeah, I think I need some live feedback. So, ladies, if you would get in touch, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there are a lot of people that follow me that also follow you as well that
Mhm,
are Hirschsprung's mums.
mhm,
And
mhm, mhm.
it doesn't have to be Hirschsprung's mums, it can be any mums
Just
or
yeah,
any mums to
mums
be
get in
or
touch.
you know. But it's it's something I think that it would be really interesting to sort of catch up with you maybe 6 months down the
Yeah.
line. And if you come back on this show,
Mhm,
and we catch up and see how it's gone,
mhm,
what feedback you got, because I
mhm.
imagine you'll get plenty
Yeah,
of feedback once this goes out.
yeah, totally. Totally. And like, if I'm just going to offer one piece of advice to women who are thinking about getting pregnant or are pregnant or post-pregnancy, I've just said, yeah, the same word about 4 times. But pelvic floor, strengthen your pelvic floor. What that looks like is glute bridges, and what that looks like is some sit-up variation, just to strengthen your core. Very important. Planks as well, very good. But yeah, if you want more details on what those are and little how to, again, just message me. Super happy to send those over. But yeah, I mean, it's everything. It's not just like core. It's also things like I understand that some women natal postnatal experiences really bad joint pain, and just like strengthening up the muscles and ligaments around your joints, very important for the rest of your life. Getting up out of chairs, bending over and picking up the keys, all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah. So feedback, please, ladies. Let us know. We'd love to hear. Um, and we can start designing this thing if there is a need for it.
Absolutely. Well, I think yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea, and obviously
Mm-hmm.
wish you and your cousin very much the best for it. Just in terms of how people do get in contact and
Oh
message. I know
well,
we'll link everything down below, but just
definitely.
in case they don't know, how do they get in contact?
Well, they get in contact with me on Instagram at Big Friendly Personal. Oh my gosh, let me try that again. They get in contact with me at Big Friendly Personal Training. And Big Friendly Personal Training, because I'm very tall and I've got massive ears. BFG, roll dial, it's a joke. And that's my personal training page. If you want to keep abreast with my acting page, it's at OLLIE_ MCF. No, that's not true. OLLI underscore MCF. Whoa!
It's complicated.
Listen
It's
to the whole
complicated.
podcast, everyone.
Fantastic. Well, mate, it has been brilliant to have you on again. Brilliant
Oh,
to
mate.
chat to you. I'm sure we'll catch up again in
Definitely.
the future. We'll catch up on all your comings and goings, acting career,
Mm-hmm.
and all sorts of things that you're up to. But it has been amazing to have you on again, and obviously wish you the very best with your new ventures.
Well, cheers. We'll see if it is a thing. And yeah, definitely keep you updated with all of that. Best of luck with your sit. I mean, I know by the time this comes out, it'll be over, but best of luck with your sit up challenge. I hope you nail
Thanks.
that. Mate, smashing to see you. You're a top lad.
Thank you. You too.
All right. All the best, mate. Cheers and go.